serious crash. I was trying to read the log and there was just so much information. It started off as a semi-truck crash, semi that was hauling some sort of trailer, and it looks like fire crews have at least 3 lanes completely shut down to traffic, and this is going to last for a couple of hours. As we take you there and kind of take a look at over 8 miles. So this is something to keep in mind. It's not impacting the northbound drive, more so the southbound drive from Camp Pendleton as you make your way all the way down to Oceanside. So yeah, if you're leaving Camp Pendleton or you know anyone that, I don't know, commutes to San Diego from Orange County to get to work, this is likely going to slow things down in a major way for them this Wednesday. So make sure that you're letting them know they plan ahead. All right, let's go ahead and switch gears. I'm seeing if we can see some of the impact from our Caltrans camera. You cannot. This is on the 5 in both directions right at Oceanside Boulevard. We'll bring you more information coming up in the 6 o'clock hour a little later. Back to you.
Vanessa, thank you very much.
Hopefully it's not really causing a backup for those headed northbound, leaving San Diego into Orange County. It's impacting those who are leaving Orange County, headed into San Diego southbound, making their way towards Camp Pendleton. And mind you, this crash came in around 1:30 a.m. So it's now that we're hitting about 5-6 hours that it's been active. It originally involved a semi that rolled onto its side, blocking about 3 lanes. And it looks like fire crews are continuing to have all 3 of those lanes blocked. Traffic down to 1 lane as of last check, in between 9 to 10 miles or so. So that's how long we're tapping the brakes for, and speeds down to about 10 miles per hour or so. Coming up in about 7 minutes, we'll take a look at a live look, in fact, on the 5 closer to San Clemente, and we'll also take a look at if this is impacting travel around the Oceanside area. Back to you, or Evan. That's who it's mainly impacting. So if you're just tuning into our newscast and maybe you know anyone that's headed in from Orange County towards San Diego, you may want to give them a fair warning that we're tracking a pretty big SIG alert that is causing a pretty big backup as you make your way in from San Clemente, headed towards Camp Pendleton and eventually into the San Diego area. So this is the 5, and unfortunately I couldn't get closer to the scene. This is the closest I could get, 10 miles per hour. As I mentioned, it's not causing a delay for anyone headed northbound. It's impacting that southbound drive coming in from the OC, headed towards Camp Pendleton, eventually into the Oceanside neighborhoods. As we take a look at the southbound drive, speaking of the 5, we're in pretty good shape. Steady speeds at about 75 miles per hour, averaging about 10 minutes. If you're traveling in from Escondido this morning, same deal, about a 10-minute ride, 70 mile per hour speeds. Full span of the 78 from the 15 to the 5 will take you about 15 minutes with average speeds about 70 miles per hour or so. Let's go ahead and switch gears and see what it looks like coming in from the East County headed west. About 3 to 7 minutes, steady speeds there on both the the 52 as well as the 8, along with the 94. All right, Evan, back to you.
All right.
17, we're continuing to follow some breaking news out in the Camp Pendleton area. We had a semi-crash that happened around the 1 o'clock hour early this morning. It is still active. There's reportedly a fuel spill and some injuries involved, and crews have issued a SIG alert. So what that means is traffic is bottlenecked through that area down to 1 lane. They have about 3 of the lanes closed, and we received confirmation from Caltrans that one of the lanes, the fast lane, is going to be closed at least through this afternoon, 12 p.m. or so. As we take a look at how it's impacting your drive, it's mainly impacting travel for those who are headed southbound, meaning exiting Orange County, headed towards San Diego, eventually into Oceanside near the Camp Pendleton area. Not really doing much for the northbound end, which is good news if you maybe commute into Orange County or LA for work. Maybe you're headed to Disneyland. I don't know. The 5, there's not a lot of ways to get down to San Diego from the north end, with the exception of the 5 and the 15. So they're likely going to encounter a good amount of slowing. 10 minutes is the travel time, the average travel time in from the North County headed southbound. 15 minutes, meanwhile, full span of the 78. Evan, back to you. It's a scenic stretch of the freeway, but for a lot of commuters, it means gridlock. And you know exactly what I'm talking about if you travel northbound. A new proposed project is looking to ease that congestion and improve safety. I'm breaking it down in today's On the Move report. Caltrans wants to hear from you. The public scoping meeting will be held later today at 6 p.m. at South Oceanside Elementary. The public can also submit comments online through May 29th, and we have those details posted on CBS8.com. All you do is click on the online version of this story. If anywhere near the Camp Pendleton area, you know that when there's a crash, things can slow down really quick. And this crash, in fact, came in around the 1 o'clock hour earlier this morning. It's still active. The latest update that we received from officials was around 4:30 this morning, and they confirmed that the fast lane, also known as the number 1 lane, will be blocked at least through this afternoon. Now, just to give you some quick details, this involved a SIG alert, a fuel spill, as well as some minor injuries, anywhere between 9 to 10 miles or so. Evan.
All right, Vanessa.
Continuing to follow a pretty big crash that has triggered a SIG alert in the North County right near Camp Pendleton along the 5 freeway. I tried to get a glimpse on the slowdown. Unfortunately, there are really no cameras through that area. This is just north of the crash as you enter San Clemente near Cristianitos on the 5 in both directions. And that, of course, is a few miles north of Camp Pendleton, already into Orange County. All right, so let's go ahead and take you towards a crash and see how it is impacting travel. This isn't really doing much for those headed northbound. So if you're tuning in and you're headed in from San Diego and maybe you work in LA or Orange County and you typically take the 5 north, this doesn't look like it's impacting you whatsoever. It's impacting the southbound drive for drivers headed in from the OC or LA. It's at Aliso Creek Rest area. This is near Camp Pendleton. Traffic right now down to 1 lane. This crash involved a semi that rolled onto its side. There is a fuel spill according to Caltrans, and minor injuries were also involved with this incident. The brake tapping is stretching now between 9 to 10 miles or so, and you're tapping the brakes at speeds between 5 to 10 miles per hour. And Caltrans also confirmed that the fast lane, also known as the number 1 lane, will be blocked at least through this afternoon. We're hoping it opens sooner, but that's the latest information that we received around 4:30 a.m. Let's go ahead and pull up those travel times, because once you get south of Oceanside, things are in really good shape. In fact, this is the drive coming in from the North County out of Oceanside and Escondido. Average times about 11 to 12 minutes, speeds steady, anywhere between 62 to 73 miles per hour. A crash just came in from the South Bay, and in fact, we are going to have more on our streaming app with those details. Are continuing to follow that SIG alert. So the latest crash is in the South Bay, and this is on the 805. So the 805 is already a complete mess this time of day, and you can expect things even more backed up due to this crash on the right shoulder, right at Imperial Avenue on the 805 before you get to the 94, slowing things down all the way to a 43rd, 47th. All right, and then I mentioned that we are still tracking the SIG alert. This is following a semi-crash that resulted in a fuel spill and minor injuries. Traffic squeezing by in 1 lane, speeds down to 8 miles per hour, and we're tapping the brakes at 10 miles. So all of the slowing is for the southbound drive, not for the northbound drive. So this is for everyone who is headed into San Diego from Orange County, right near the San Clemente areas where we're tapping the brakes. I tried to see if we can get a glimpse of some of that, this view here. And then here's a quick look at travel times. Everything is pretty much in the green for those headed southbound, especially once you get past Oceanside. Evan?
Yeah.
There. So we'll go ahead and start in the South Bay, and then we'll work our way up towards the North County, where we're continuing to track that SIG alert right near Camp Pendleton. So the 805, look out for a crash that's on the right shoulder in Lincoln Park. This is right before you hit the 94, backing things up all the way down to about 43rd. Moving up, we have another crash that just came in, this one on the 15 at Center City, and this is right before you hit Escondido on the 15, let's say coming in from Fallbrook, maybe Bonsall or the Rainbow area. And then, as I mentioned, we've been following this for the past couple of hours, a SIG alert continuing to block all lanes except for 1 on the 5 South right near Camp Pendleton at Aliso Creek Rest area. One of the lanes, in fact, was confirmed to be shut down all the way through this afternoon, and that will be the fast lane. So make sure that you're planning ahead. That's currently impacting the southbound drive. Netta.
Thank you.
Traffic yesterday. I was telling Eric, Netta, and Evan that I sat in this traffic coming out of Chula Vista, and I am so sorry. I do not envy anyone who has to sit in that park, backing things up to about 43rd, 47th. So this drive already sees a crawl this time of day. You can add additional timing to the overall travel time because of that incident hanging out on the shoulder there. We're also tracking another crash, this one a little closer to the Escondido area on the 15 South right at Center City. This is going to slow things down if you're making your way, let's say, in from the Fallbrook area. And then, of course, we're keeping our eyes on the SIG alert following a semi-crash that involved an oil or a fuel spill. And this is on the 5 South right at Aliso Creek Rest area near Camp Pendleton. It's impacting the southbound drive. So if you're headed northbound leaving San Diego towards Orange County, you likely won't have to worry about it because we're at steady speeds. Headed northbound, it's southbound that we're tapping the brakes now for over 10 miles, speeds down to about 5 miles per hour or so. Travel times look like this: 12 to 13 coming next, about 3 to 8 minutes on the 94 as well as the 8. Netta? Crawl that we are tracking coming in from the South Bay. So it looks like we are still tracking this crash on the right shoulder in Lincoln Park on the 805 North right at Imperial, slowing things down all the way to the 54. We have another crash in the Center Divide in Escondido on the 15 South right before you hit Center City Parkway. And then we're still tracking the SIG alert that has all but one lane blocked right now. It's causing stop and go from about San Clemente as you make your way south into San Diego from Orange County. The good news, it's not doing anything really for the northbound drive coming in from Oceanside. Are tracking a not so cute drive right now. We have a lot going on, so let's go ahead and get into it. We have reports of debris blocking the right lane in Mission Valley on the 8 West right before you get to the 805 freeway. And up in the North County, we have a few things going on. So we have a crash in the Center Divide out in Escondido on the 15 South right before you hit Center City. And then this one is going to slow things down for folks headed in from Temecula southbound towards Rainbow. A crash blocking the left lane right after Rainbow Valley Boulevard, causing stop and go all the way from towards the 215 connector, so up in Riverside. And then we have this one that we've been tracking since we came on air at about 5 a.m. A SIG alert has all but one lane blocked on the 5 South right between Aliso Creek Rest area and the Coaster Station. It's causing stop and go all the way to the San Onofre Power Plant. So this is just near the Camp Pendleton area. If you're leaving San Diego headed north on the 5, it shouldn't impact travel too much. It's the southbound end that's seen most of the crawling. All right, we are starting to see those speeds slow down, 45 to 55 mile per hour speeds coming in from the North County, about 15 to 20 minutes to head inbound from the North County. If you're traveling in from the East County, we're also seeing a crawl coming out of Lemon Grove as well as Santee, 15 minutes total to get you either to downtown or Tierra Santa. If you're traveling in from the College neighborhood to the 805, tracking about a 5-minute drive, so really easy travel there. And then we're continuing to see very slow drives in from the South Bay, 20 to 30 minutes on the 5 and the 805. Average speeds about 30 to 35 miles per hour. All right, the area, we all know it, where the 5 and the 78 meet in Oceanside. It's a scenic stretch of freeway, but for a lot of commuters, it can also mean gridlock. Well, a new proposed project is looking to ease congestion and improve safety. I'm breaking it all down in today's On the Move report. Caltrans wants your opinions and input. The public scoping meeting will be held today at 6 p.m. at South Oceanside Elementary. The public can also submit comments online now through May 29th. We have those details posted on CBS8.com. All you have to do is click on the online version. Give you a live look outside, and then we'll talk about some of the crashes that we're tracking. That was the 805. This is the 5 closer to downtown San Diego, right at Old Town Avenue. Things are rolling really smooth if you're headed towards, let's say, the San Diego International Airport. Look out for a crash partially blocking the off-ramp. This is in Otay Mesa on the 905 West at Siempre Viva Road, right as you enter or cross into the U.S. From that border there. We have still the SIG alert that has been triggered after a semi-crash caused a fuel spillage as well as some injuries. 2 left lanes are blocked in Camp Pendleton on the 5 at Aliso Creek Road. It's going. I'll go ahead and say that. 8:01 is the time on your hump day, halfway through the week. We're seeing our fair share of congestion coming in from the South Bay, Chula Vista, National City. That is usual for this time of day. Meanwhile, on the 5 in both directions, right at Old Town Avenue, looks like we're at steady speeds. Look out for a crash. This may slow things down as you make your way into the U.S., crossing from the Otay Mesa border. This is on the 905 West off-ramp to Siempre Viva Road. And then we also have a crash crash that we're tracking. This is up in the North County coming in from Escondido. You're tapping the brakes all the way towards about 9th, also known as Auto Parkway, due to a crash there. And then, of course, we're tracking the Sigler. If you know anyone traveling in from Orange County this morning, they're likely going to be a little plugged up due to a SIG alert following a semi-crash that involved a fuel spill, as well as some minor injuries. There's still a couple of lanes closed, and traffic is still backed up from San Onofre Power Plant. It flushes out once you get past Camp Pendleton, and then we're at steady speeds once you get past the 76. Right now, speeds down to about 10 miles per hour or so. So all is well headed southbound. Again, once you get past Oceanside, it's everything north near Camp Pendleton where we're seeing all the slowing because of that crash at the rest stop. 13 to about 20 to get you inbound from the 5 and the 15 this morning. Netta, as mom.
Going above and beyond.
Yeah, and then was it a raccoon? Who was dressed up? Wasn't there another animal center that was dressed up as the mom, a different animal?
Yeah, they've done it a few times.
They've done it on multiple animals.
Yeah.
I feel like last week, like we talked, I don't want to say raccoon. That's kind of crazy.
No, I think it was.
We've done the bear. and
It was
we've done-
something new.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a coyote,
Yeah,
a baby
something.
It's a
coyote.
coyote mask.
Something. But yeah, kudos to them. They do
Amazing.
such incredible work. All right, 8:09 is the time. Let's go ahead and start things off with a live look out from the South Bay. I can't believe I said a raccoon. Yeah, it was a coyote. 805 northbound, there's that drive as you make your way in from Division. This is what it looks like a little more west towards the water. This is downtown, a live look towards downtown San Diego on the 5 in both directions at Old Town Avenue. Continue to look out for this crash in Otay Mesa, right where the 905 meets the Otay Mesa border. And then we have this crash on the 15 right at 9th, also known as Auto Parkway. That may slow things down for those headed in from Escondido, making their way southbound from that 78 connector. We still have this crash. It is causing quite the slowdown coming in from Orange County. So yeah, if you are expecting anyone from Orange County, LA this morning, they are going to be late, more than likely because of that SIG alert that has a couple of lanes blocked, and reportedly all the way up until noon is when those lanes will be closed to traffic. Speeds are crawling at about 10 miles per hour and the backup stretching well over 10 miles. It's not necessarily impacting the northbound drive, not too much slowing as you make your way in from Oceanside headed north towards Camp Pendleton. It's more the southbound end up until Camp Pendleton, and then speeds start to increase. So here's what it looks like as you make your way 8 and the 94. Out there, we have a few crashes that we're tracking in the North County, so we'll go ahead and start there. The left lane is blocked in Oceanside on the 78 westbound, right before you get to the 5, and it's causing stop and go all the way to about Jefferson. So keep that in mind if you're traveling, let's say, inbound from the Vista neighborhood. We're also tracking another crash, this one blocking the right shoulder in Escondido on the 15 South, right before you hit Auto Parkway as you make your way towards Villa Rancho. And then this one we've been tracking since the start of the show at 5 a.m. It happened around 1 o'clock this morning, and it looks like a couple of lanes are still closed due to a crash on the 5 right at Aliso Creek Rest area. It's causing quite the crawl as you're making your way south in from Orange Side, the San Clemente area. If you're headed northbound, you're not encountering any brake tapping nor any major congestion. It's mainly the southbound end where we're tapping the brakes at 10 miles per hour.